You opened the refrigerator door and stood there for a moment, staring. Not because you forgot what you came for, though that's happened too, but because for just a second you couldn't quite pull the thought forward. It was there somewhere in the back of your mind, but it took a few extra seconds to arrive. And in that moment, a quiet fear whispered, "Is this how it starts?" My name is Dr. Naira, and I need to tell you something that might bring you relief. What you're experiencing isn't necessarily the beginning of decline. It might just be your brain running low on the specific nutrients it needs to function clearly, especially at night when mental fatigue hits hardest. By the time we reach our late 60s and 70s, nearly 1 in 3 of us begins noticing these small cognitive shifts. Not dementia, not disease. Just a quiet slowing, thoughts that take a little longer to form, words that don't come as quickly, names that slip away even when the face is familiar. And here's what most people don't realize. It often gets worse in the evening. After dinner, when you sit down to relax, your mind feels heavier. Conversations become harder to follow. You might even find yourself staring at the TV without really absorbing what's happening. This isn't random, it's chemistry. As we age, our brains produce fewer neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers responsible for memory, focus, mood, and mental clarity. When those signals weaken, everything slows down. Your thoughts feel sluggish, your memory stalls, and you start to feel like you're drifting even when you're wide awake. But here's what gives me hope after years of working with older adults. Your brain doesn't shut off at night. It rebuilds during sleep. It resets those chemical messengers, the ones tied to memory, mood, and focus. But it can't do that job without the right raw materials. And that's what this video is about. Not pills, not complicated programs, just 3 simple, everyday nuts that support your brain chemistry quietly while you sleep, so you wake up sharper, clearer, and more like yourself. Nut 1, peanuts, for memory. If I asked you to name a brain food, peanuts probably wouldn't make your list. They're inexpensive, they're common, and for most people, they're just a salty snack you grab at a baseball game. But inside each peanut is something your aging brain is quietly desperate for. Choline. Choline is a nutrient your body uses to produce acetylcholine, one of the most important neurotransmitters for memory and learning. Without enough acetylcholine, brain cells struggle to send clear signals to each other. You start feeling slower, less connected. You forget names, conversations, tasks you used to handle effortlessly. And here's the problem. As we age, our natural production of acetylcholine declines. Even worse, many older adults don't get enough choline from their diet, especially if they've cut back on eggs or meat over the years. This is where peanuts come in. Despite being technically a legume, peanuts are one of the richest plant-based sources of choline available. Just a small handful, about 30 grams, provides over 25 milligauss of choline. That's a significant boost for something you can grab from your pantry. But it doesn't stop there. Peanuts also contain resveratrol, a plant compound that's been shown to support blood flow to the brain and reduce oxidative stress, the kind of cellular damage that accelerates mental aging. In a 2020 study published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition, older adults who consumed resveratrol daily for 12 weeks showed measurable improvements in verbal memory and mental flexibility. These weren't minor changes. They were real functional improvements that made a difference in daily life. I once worked with a man named Harold, a retired postal worker in his mid-70s. He was sharp during the day, but told me he struggled to recall new information in the evenings, names of people he just met, details from conversations earlier that day. It frustrated him, and he worried it meant something serious. I suggested he try adding a small portion of unsalted peanuts after dinner, 5 nights a week. No other changes, just that one simple addition. 2 months later, he came back and told me something I'll never forget. It's like my brain remembers to pay attention again. He wasn't cured of anything because there was nothing to cure. His brain just needed the right fuel. How to use peanuts correctly. Always choose unsalted, dry roasted, or raw peanuts. Avoid sugary coatings, honey roasted varieties, or processed snack blends. Eat them slowly, ideally after dinner, about an hour before bed. For those with dental concerns, a small spoonful of natural peanut butter works too. Just make sure it contains no added oils or sugars. One more note, if you take blood pressure medication or have a history of severe allergies, check with your doctor before making peanuts a daily habit. For most people, though, they're perfectly safe in small, steady portions. So the next time you walk past that jar in your kitchen, don't think of it as just a snack. Think of it as a tool, a way to help your brain reconnect, one quiet evening at a time. Nut 2, cashews, for calm. Cashews don't get much respect. They're soft, a little sweet, and often dismissed as filler and trail mix. But beneath that creamy texture lies something powerful, something that speaks directly to the aging brain's need for calm and balance. As we age, one of the most overlooked changes inside the brain is the gradual decline of GABA and serotonin, two key neurotransmitters responsible for emotional stability, mental focus, and sleep quality. When these chemical messengers drop, the results aren't always dramatic, they're subtle. You start feeling easily overwhelmed. You lose interest in activities that once brought you joy. And when you lie down to sleep, your body is exhausted, but your mind keeps racing. This is where cashews shine, not through stimulation, but through quiet restoration. First, let's talk about magnesium. Cashews are one of the richest nut-based sources of magnesium, a mineral essential for hundreds of biochemical reactions in the body, especially those involving brain function. Magnesium plays a critical role in regulating GABA, the neurotransmitter that quiets brain activity and promotes mental stillness. Without enough magnesium, GABA production slows, and the brain stays on high alert even when you desperately want to rest. A 2016 randomized trial published in the journal Nutrients found that adults over 60 with low magnesium levels were significantly more likely to report poor sleep quality, difficulty concentrating, and increased anxiety during evening hours. In that same study, participants who received consistent magnesium support experienced improved sleep onset, reduced nighttime restlessness, and better morning cognition, even without any other changes to their routine. And cashews do more than just deliver magnesium. They also provide tryptophan, a natural amino acid that serves as a precursor to serotonin. Serotonin is often called the feel-good chemical, but in older adults it plays a more vital role than just mood. It helps regulate mental energy, control emotional reactivity, and even supports memory formation during sleep. When tryptophan intake increases, especially when consumed with a balanced meal, the body converts it into serotonin. That's why eating a small portion of cashews after dinner may quietly support your brain's serotonin cycle throughout the night. The science backs this up. A 2022 meta-analysis in the Journal of Psychopharmacology reviewed over 20 clinical studies and concluded that consistent dietary tryptophan intake was associated with improved emotional regulation, better sleep onset, and enhanced memory performance in aging populations. How to use cashews correctly. Choose raw or dry roasted cashews with no added ingredients. Stick to a portion of about 15 to 20 cashews. Take them 1 to 2 hours before bed. This timing gives your body time to digest and absorb the magnesium and tryptophan before your brain enters its active repair phase during deep sleep. Now, if you're concerned about calories, here's something reassuring. Multiple studies have shown that moderate nut intake, especially in the evening, does not contribute to weight gain in older adults when paired with a balanced diet. In fact, a 2019 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults over 65 who consume nuts 3 to 5 times per week had better cognitive scores, improved metabolic function, and no significant change in body weight over a 12-month period. I worked with a woman named Eleanor, a 68-year-old former teacher, who told me she felt wired but exhausted every night. She'd lie in bed for hours, her mind spinning with worries and replaying conversations from the day. I suggested she try eating a small handful of raw cashews about 90 minutes before bed, paired with a cup of herbal tea. Within 3 weeks, she told me she was falling asleep faster and waking up feeling more emotionally balanced. In her words, "I feel like myself again in the mornings." That's the power of giving your brain what it needs to calm itself naturally. Nut 3, walnuts, for repair. If peanuts help your brain remember and cashews help it stay calm, walnuts do something deeper. They help the brain repair. There's a reason walnuts resemble the shape of the human brain. That similarity isn't just poetic. It reflects their unique nutritional role in neurological health. As we age, one of the biggest challenges inside the brain is structural decline. Neural membranes become fragile, connections between brain cells weaken, and overnight repair becomes less efficient. This is where walnuts stand apart. Walnuts are the richest nut-based source of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Your body converts this into DHA and EPA, two compounds essential for maintaining the integrity of brain cell membranes. Healthy membranes allow neurotransmitters to move efficiently from one neuron to another. When membranes are damaged or inflamed, signals become weak, delayed, or distorted. A 2018 study published in the journal Nutrients showed that older adults with higher intake of alpha-linolenic acid demonstrated improved working memory and faster processing speed compared to those with low intake. But omega-3 is only part of the story. Walnuts also contain natural polyphenols that reduce oxidative stress in the brain, the kind of damage that accelerates cognitive aging by damaging synapses and impairing nighttime neural repair. In 2020, researchers writing in the Journal of Aging Research reported that walnut consumption was associated with reduced markers of brain inflammation and improved synaptic plasticity in adults over 60. And there's something else that makes walnuts especially powerful at night. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin. Melatonin isn't just a sleep hormone. It acts as a signal that tells the brain when to begin its deep repair cycle. When melatonin levels are supported, the brain enters deeper stages of sleep where memory consolidation and neural restoration occur. A 2017 clinical study in the Journal of Pineal Research found that dietary sources of melatonin improved sleep efficiency and next-day cognitive performance in older adults without the side effects seen with synthetic sleep aids. This is why walnuts aren't just a brain food, they're a timing food. I think often of a woman named Patricia who was 72 and complained of waking up mentally exhausted every morning. She added a small portion of walnuts after dinner most nights, just 6 or 7 halves eaten slowly. Within weeks, she reported clearer mornings and fewer moments of mental blankness during conversations. That small habit mattered. How to use walnuts correctly. Always choose raw or lightly toasted walnuts. Avoid sugar-coated or heavily roasted versions, as heat damages the delicate omega-3 fats. A portion of about 7 to 10 walnut halves is enough. Eat them 1 hour before bed, ideally after your last full meal. If chewing is difficult, walnuts can be soaked briefly in warm water to soften them, or finely chopped and mixed into soft foods like oatmeal or yogurt. One important note, if you take blood-thinning medication, walnuts are safe in moderate amounts, but consistency matters. Avoid sudden large increases and talk to your doctor if you're unsure. Walnuts won't stop aging, but they can slow the damage that aging leaves behind. They help the brain rebuild quietly, connection by connection, night after night. Let's keep this simple. You don't need to count grams. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine. All you need is a small, steady habit done at the right time. Each evening, about an hour before bed, take a quiet moment for yourself. In your hand, gather a small mix of 3 familiar nuts, not too much, just enough to feel present. A few peanuts, a few cashews, a few walnuts. No more than what fits in one gentle handful. This isn't a snack for hunger. It's a message to your brain. You're giving it. Choline for memory, magnesium, and tryptophan for calm omega-3s, and melatonin for overnight repair. Eat slowly. No TV, no scrolling. Just you and this quiet act of care. If your teeth aren't what they used to be, no problem. You can swap the whole nuts for a spoonful of natural peanut butter, or stir a few chopped walnuts into a soft bowl of plain yogurt. Unsweetened cashew milk, warmed gently, can be surprisingly soothing in the last hour of your day. The key is rhythm, not perfection. 4 or 5 nights a week is enough to begin seeing shifts: deeper sleep, a lighter mind in the morning, more clarity in everyday moments that used to feel just a little out of reach. You don't have to make a ceremony out of it, but let it be a pause, a way to remind your body that healing is still possible, even now. If you're on medication or managing a health condition, it's always smart to talk with your doctor before adding anything new, even something as gentle as this. But for most people, this ritual isn't just safe, it's nourishing, and it works with your biology, not against it. No pressure, no punishment, just presence. Healing the brain isn't about chasing perfection. It's about feeding it what it needs, gently, over time. It's about building a rhythm your nervous system can trust and giving your body permission to repair in its own quiet way. 1 handful of nuts, 1 spoonful of nut butter, One moment of stillness before bed. They may seem small, but inside your brain, those small choices speak loudly. They say, I still care. They say, I haven't given up. And your brain listens. Night after night, it responds, not with fireworks, but with quiet clarity. You start remembering what you forgot. You finish the sentence you almost lost. You feel more present in your mornings and more connected to the people around you. That's not just food, that's resilience. And it's still alive in you. So whether you're 70 or 80 or anywhere in between, know this. It's not too late to protect your mind. It's not too late to feel sharper, lighter, more like yourself again. You haven't missed your chance. You've just begun. Which nut are you going to start with tonight? Peanuts for memory, cashews for calm, walnuts for repair? Let me know in the comments. I read every one. If this video helped you, even in a small way, I gently ask you to like it and share it with someone who may need it. A parent, a spouse, a friend who's been quietly worried about their memory. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself and take care of your mind. I'll see you in the next one.